Hi there. I am Theresa Touhey with Trine Astrology, and I'm doing a little video here just so you know what to expect from an astrology reading, especially if you get one from me, and how I go about my whole process. So, one of the questions that I get from clients is, do they need to prepare before they actually come to have a reading with me? And the answer is 99% of the time, no. The only thing that you really do need to prepare for is to download Zoom before our meeting just to make it easier so you're not struggling with doing that during the time of our scheduled appointment. But all the prep is actually me. I spend about an hour before, our meeting where I go through your chart and I make myself personal notes, but I also create notes for you as well that I do send you after the actual reading. Now, here's the thing. I do certain things that I ask all of my clients, and one of those things is I offer to record the meeting for you. Now, if you want to record it yourself, you're more than welcome to, but I'm so used to hitting the record button for clients that I don't mind recording it and then sending you the link, whatever works best. Now, my sessions tend to last about 2 hours, and I would like to say that always end them right at 2 hours, but I love astrology. I love people. I love going through your chart. So sometimes it ends a little bit past that 2 hour mark. So just keep that in mind when you're scheduling with me. However, if you tell me ahead of time, Teresa, I've got a hard stop, I'll make sure I speak fast so that we can get as much crammed in as possible. Now, I do a disclaimer. I don't know why I keep saying now, but I do a disclaimer at the start, and I do this disclaimer with everyone. So I'm going to just tell you what it is right now in case if you're viewing this. I let everyone know that I look at your chart through an astrological lens. I am not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a financial advisor. If you need help in those areas, I strongly recommend hiring a licensed professional. I'm not a licensed professional in those four arenas of life. However, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't talk about your career or health or finances. In fact, like let's just say an example, I see a possibility of an inheritance coming to you. Well, I would mention that and I would tell you about when and why and some of the other logistics that are going on. But I would recommend if you heard something like that in a reading with me, that you would then seek a lawyer, for probate, seek a financial advisor, what to do to make sure your taxes are okay and all that other good stuff. So that disclaimer is there just to make sure that you understand where my boundaries are at and also so that I communicate them as well, because that's extremely important. You wouldn't, I want to make sure that you know that I am a professional and I know where that line is at. Now, I do want to let you know that I also ask another question, which sounds a little strange, but I do ask my clients if it's okay if I bring up past lives. It doesn't mean that I do a past life reading, but just so that I know if I use that terminology, it's okay with you. And then I also ask if it's okay to bring up anything woo. Occasionally, I see certain things in charts where that subject may come up. And then also, I am an intuitive as well. I do channel my spirit guides. I am psychic, so sometimes I see certain things that can be a little woo. But I really respect everybody's boundaries and their religions and their belief systems. So that's why I asked that question, because if that's not something you're comfortable with, just say, hey, no, step aside. I'm not comfortable with that. And that's cool with me. So I just want you to know that I do everything I can to make the reading as comfortable for you. And, this is all about you. And I'm just honored to be able to read your chart. Now, something else that I do ask before we begin is what's your astrological knowledge? Now, it doesn't matter to me what it is. You could know nothing, or you could be a professional astrologer. And I have read that whole from point A to point Z, and I enjoy reading all of them. The only reason why I ask this is so that I know, like, if you are a practicing astrologer, I can just not necessarily skip over things, but I could use some jargon. If you don't know anything about astrology, I wouldn't use the word like, oh, this placement is in its domicile. Instead, I would say, oh, this placement is most comfortable here. It's really at home. So it's just little tweaks. They're not a big deal tweak, but that's one of the reasons why I ask. So that way the session goes nice and smooth, and I'm speaking in a way to where you're absorbing the material in a way that you want to absorb it. So, and then I always ask all my clients, in fact, when you sign up for a reading with me, there is a question at the end. Is there something specific that you want me to cover? Now, most of the time, when a client meets with me the first time, they're just like, especially if they've never had a reading before, they're like, I don't even know what to expect. Just read what you see, and that's okay. But every now and then, I do get clients that something major is going on in their life. Maybe they're making a big career change or they're having relationship issues. And so they really want me to focus on that as I do the reading. Now, keep in mind, let's just say nothing came to mind, but you're doing a reading with me. I do like the us sharing information back and forth. So if something comes up and you're like, oh, wait a second, can you tell me about such and such? Sure, I'll be more than happy to do so. So even if you don't think of a question from the start, don't worry about it. If questions arise, please ask. I am here to serve you. Now, with a new client, and I'm going to actually show you my screen. With a new client, what I do is I mainly focus, well, I do four things. So the first thing that I do is in the reading, I go over this infographic. I verify your information. By the way, I am not sharing a client's information. This is actually my birth chart information. Just so you know, I would never share a client's information. But here is my sun sign, and I pretty much would go over this, just verify your birth information. Scorpio sun, Pisces moon, Cancer rising. I would go over what it means as far as your qualities or modalities. And as far as your elements, as you can see, I have a lot of mutable and water energy in my chart. And then I go through like what it means, that how many trines, sextiles, conjunctions, squares, and oppositions you have. So this only takes about 5 minutes. And then I check for clients. Not many clients have out of bounds planets. I actually have two. The majority of clients do not. So if I don't go over that with you, that means that you don't. Most people don't. And then I do the reading, and I go through and I really focus on the aspects. I would say 80% of the reading, the birth chart reading, is aspect focused. And what I do, I actually alchemize them, because sometimes there's things in the chart that seem contradictory, but they actually, when you start looking at them as a whole, they actually blend together. And I try to make sense of the chart for my clients. And most of the time they're like, wow, yeah, you really hit the nail on the head. So that's why I do the prep work beforehand, so I can find those areas of the chart that may be conflicting. And then I just go in and I dive in. I'm like, okay, so some of the time you're like this, but some of the time you're like this. And they're like, you're right. And because when they've read certain things about their chart in the past, they're like, well, I don't really resonate like that. I'm not like that all the time, only some of the time. So I help bring that together. But I go through the whole chart. I always use Luna with my chart readings. I do this for a reason, because what I like about it is, like, if I click on the sun, and then it shows what the sun has aspects to, and I can show the client more about their chart without the noise of the rest of the chart, and then go through placement by placement. I find it just makes a chart reading much easier for both of us. First of all, it keeps me organized and keeps me focused. I do have this Uranus in the third house, which can be an indicator of having attention issues. So it helps me to stay focused, but I think it also helps my clients as well. This part, the reading part, takes about an hour or so, hour and 10 minutes. After that, I do cover some other things. I'm not going to say all of it because some of it I won't do for clients because maybe it hasn't happened in their life yet, or it's just not really relevant based on the aspects. But I do go over the North and South Node with everyone. And these are the notes. I just made them for myself. I've never done a chart reading for myself, so this was kind of cool to put this together. But I go over the North and South Node with my clients. And then if a client has Bahenian fixed stars in their chart, most people don't have them either, then I would go over that. So if I don't go over Bahenian fixed stars with you, don't sweat it. And then at the end, which usually by this time we have somewhere between 45 minutes to a half an hour left, I will go over your transits. So your transits in the chart, which by the way, this light gray in the center is me, and the outside of um, the dark gray area is what's happening in the sky right at this moment, right when I clicked. And we can see right now I have Mars conjunct my natal Neptune. And then I would go over what this means. I'd go over certain patterns, such as like Jupiter right now is in Cancer, because this is October 23rd of 2025. It is going to go retrograde in a few weeks. But this is but I would go over what it means to have Jupiter in your chart, in the sky, how it's impacting. I'd go over all the big major players, the outer planets, but then would also look at detail. So like right now, I've got Venus in transiting through my fourth house, for instance, and I have been thinking about, not only have I been like tidying up, but I've been doing some organization around the house, but I've also been like planning like what I want to do artistically in my home and some different decorations and moving stuff around, not necessarily moving much around, but like trying to like make things flow better, um, but pretty things up. And I like my place, but I'm trying to make it even prettier. And this tends to happen when Venus goes through your fourth house, because the fourth house is home, and Venus, not only is it about love and harmony and balance, but it's also about beauty, art, music, and other things as well. So I would go through details, and I am going on vacation soon as I'm doing this. Let's go see. Venus is going to be in my fifth house of dating and romance while I'm on vacation. Who knows what may happen while I'm on vacation? But these are things that I would go over with you a little bit more specific than I'm doing right now in this video. So I'm going to stop the share and just wrap this up a little bit with you. So that's what a reading would be with a new client. Now, if I have an existing client, I do so many other things. I've had clients reach out to me because there's a major event going on and they really want a deep dive. We go look at their progress chart. We may look at solar returns, all kinds of other things, and really do some deep dives. So, and I tailor everything to a client. It really is, like I said, I am honored and I just feel grateful that you've chosen me to read your chart. So I do everything that I can to make this a positive experience for you. And like I said, you can ask questions. I just want to make sure that you're seen. One of the things that I really strive for is, hoping that you feel understood, because validation to me is one of the biggest assets of astrology, especially the way that I practice it. Um, Especially in the world that we live in now, we have quite a few people, advertisers, our friends, everybody that's trying to tell us what to do and what to think or what to feel. So it's kind of nice to have someone look at your chart and just say, no, this is you, and you go, yeah, that is me. That's what I've always thought. And it lines up together. But I do like to give you some insight as well and, to show you different things on your chart and what's going on. So I hope this little video here has put you at ease about either doing a reading with me or with someone else. At least you know what to expect with me now. I kind of gave you some of those visuals, so that hopefully helps out. But, if this does not resonate with you, there are so many great astrologers who use different techniques or have a different way of communicating and connecting with you. So find the astrologer that resonates with you. Now, if you're thinking, yeah, I think I do want to book with you, Theresa, this sounds great, but I'm just not 100% certain. Check out the testimonials on my website. Just go to grandtrineastrology.com/testimonials. And, I get testimonials from my clients all the time and I post them up there. And you can see what my clients, their opinions of how the reading went. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope I get to meet you. But if not, I wish you the best on your astrological journey. You take care and have a great day.